What's going on, Non-Fungible fam? It's the Non-Fungible 5 here again, back again with another video. And today we're going to be doing something completely different. We are going to be doing a new series called Characters. And the gist of this series is basically it's going to be a coalition of a bunch of people. It's going to be a very collaborative project. Basically, we're going to be finding people anywhere from influencers to project founders to project members to moderators to anyone basically who has really good insight or value to add or anything interesting to say. We'll have you on the show. So to start, we're small right now, obviously, but in the future, as things get bigger, we plan to open up an application form where anyone basically can apply and fill out the form if they have any interesting idea and they want a platform to speak. The small guy finally gets to have, a word in the NFT space, which I think is pretty cool. So without further ado, our first featured guest today is none other than NFT Pasta.
Hi, how you going?
And we basically think that NFT Pasta is a stand-up individual, so we wanted to have him on our channel and kind of get his grasp and ideas on the play-to-earn gaming space, because we feel like he's sort of, I guess you could say, an expert when it comes to finding play-to-earn projects extremely early. Pasta, would you want to give kind of a brief description about your past, about your background? That's cool.
Yeah, so I basically got into NFTs about a year ago now. Slowly got into them through a different chain, not on ETH. It was actually on Phantom, which is a really, really small chain for NFTs, probably smaller than even Cardano. But I got started on there because of the low gases and, the speed of transactions. Same reason anyone trades on Cardano or Sol. Then after a few months on there, I felt like it was time to move over to ETH. Where I started in probably one of the bigger collections that came out at the time, being Magic Mushroom Clubhouse, which is still my profile picture to this day. And I basically learnt a lot of stuff in there, following a ton of YouTubers, and eventually decided to start putting out content on my own because I wanted to help inform people in the space, because I was kind of annoyed at always seeing projects do different cash grabs or whatever the case may be. And I thought I had a decent grasp of the market at that time. And so I started making content and then, move it down 6 months now, still do content every once in a while, even though it's a little bit tough with the market right now, because I don't like making videos for no reason, just for the sake of it. But I run a small private group. It's subscription based. I don't have an NFT or anything out. As of yet, I just want to keep things flexible and small and something that I can, keep an eye on. I don't want things to be out there too much because I like to keep my hands on everything that I do, so I have full control over it. But yeah, I've been running that group now for a few months, making content, just building stuff behind the scenes, helping out where I can. And
That's really interesting. Thanks for that. I find it really interesting that you got into the NFT space with Phantom. I actually don't meet a lot of people in general who engage in the Phantom chain with NFTs, but to actually get your start in it so early, that's definitely something special in itself. In terms of your community, I can see like that you embody that you really want to keep people informed, like that you're not like in this space, you have to be able to see through the bullshit, pardon my language, but and when there's so much people like just trying to do cash grabs and stuff like that, it's kind of a needle in a haystack when you find people who, are actually giving people real, updated, timely information. That's the biggest thing in my opinion, timely. I've noticed your videos have always been like, you upload a lot when there is substance, when there's a lot to talk about. And like you said, like we haven't uploaded in about a week or two just because we haven't found anything of noteworthy, I guess, to actually upload. So I do 100% agree with that.
Exactly. I was just gonna say that the Phantom one was a weird one. It was just because I was heavily invested in the actual coin, so I was already a part of communities in just like general DeFi sense. Like I've been in crypto for a few years, but it just got more and more. Like I was doing, I was trading futures and stuff before I ever even heard about what NFTs were. So I was a little bit late to the Ethereum side of it. Like, the apes and everything were already out by the time I actually moved onto the chain, which sucks. But I did kind of get an experience with very minimal risk on Phantom, which I wish everyone would get, which is why I do like Sol and Cardano. They do have a place, even for just learning, because, I lost money, obviously, trading NFTs on Phantom and minting stuff but at the end of the day, it didn't really matter because it wasn't really that much compared to how much you're spending on ETH, gas alone on ETH. And yeah, so I did actually start making videos originally. I think I maybe privated some of them on my channel that were related to Phantom projects. I don't know if they're still up there or not. I can't remember, but that's originally why I started making videos, because I was trying to inform people about the cool stuff that was happening on that chain. And then I kind of got swept into the whole ETH side of things, and because it was just more interesting to me and there was more going on. But yeah, you can see, like you said, I haven't uploaded in like a week. The last video I did was basically just talking about the overall market as a whole, which is new to me. I usually just speak about projects and the teams and all that sort of stuff, but I kind of just made a video on the whole Solana narrative and what I would be looking at in this market. And it's interesting. It's like the first time I've done a video like that, but it kind of stands the test of time a little bit more, at least in the NFT space. Like, it's been a week and I still think it's relevant to know what I was talking about in that video, because it's just kind of what I'm doing in this market even today. I'm still looking at these projects and seeing how things are going to like get a better understanding of what I want to do in the next month or so. So yeah, that's how I want to keep my content. I want it to be educational and stuff at heart, because I think there's always a need for it in pushing the space forward. People need to know, people need to be educated, and so many aren't. So I try to at least put useful information out there on whatever the topic is.
Well, I completely agree with that. Our channel is kind of a mixture of like very timely information as well, like going through projects, and like kind of a little bit more general videos too. Like our pinned video on our channel is just like good ways to get whitelist and stuff like that. Just a little bit more, not like necessarily just your generic ways though. Like we go through like events and like different stuff too that like you might not necessarily think of, like hosting a whole meditation event if you're good at that, like actually leveraging your skills and things like that. But I know what you mean. They do test the time a little bit more, and they do last a little bit longer, more relevant at least. But yeah, do you guys want to get into today's topic? But actually, before we do that, guys, give Pasta's Twitter a follow and go subscribe to his YouTube channel at NFT Pasta, correct?
Yeah,
on both.
So
Awesome.
NFT Pasta.
Cool. And follow us on Twitter at non-fungible NF5, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, show some love, show some feedback as well, because we're always trying to improve on the quality of our videos. And with this being kind of a new series, I definitely want some feedback, so that would be helpful. And again, just to build on what you just said, Pasta, actually, that's kind of why we started this series in particular, because like I still wanted to make content and keep people informed about what was going on, but I didn't know how to do it in a manner that was entertaining, I guess you could say, like in the standard way. So I feel like this kind of collaborative platform to give people voices in the space is kind of a much better way. And as long as we like actually treat it like my personal opinion, like if we vet everyone who applies for that thing and get the right people on the channel, I feel like we can really like bring light to some like really interesting people who are just flying under the radar right now, So
yeah, interesting topics and interesting people is always a good recipe. Covering topics like play to earn is great because it's such a broad topic, and we haven't even explored it like at all in the space that we're in right now. Like the term play to earn doesn't mean nearly what it can mean in the future. So taking this time in like a bear market to discuss in-depth topics like that with multiple people, I think is awesome. Like I was just having I had a 2-hour conversation with NFT Nate the other day, yesterday, about just the general market and stuff he was doing, stuff I was doing, and we were just bouncing ideas off each other, and giving, you know, an outlook that the other person maybe didn't have. Like he brought ideas to me that I didn't think of, and vice versa. So I mean, doing that collaboratively on topics is a really good idea. So I'm glad I was, you know, I'm glad to be a part of the first episode. It's cool.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on. Much appreciated. And I definitely hope you can give us some of that insight from that conversation with you and Nate, because that would be awesome. I would love to hear that. But yeah, without further ado, today's episode, like we said, is on play to earn gaming. So Pasta, would you like to describe what play to earn gaming is to you and what you kind of think the current state of play to earn gaming is, in your opinion?
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I just said, I guess play to earn doesn't mean what I think it will mean in even a year's time, or especially like 5 years, because I don't think we're nearly at that point. I mean, we just saw Big Time launch their beta with their silver pass, and I was watching some gameplay of that and it looked cool, and their whole, I mean, the whole structure of their company is interesting, with it being free to play, because I think that's the most important part about play to earn. But good games take a long time to make, and we haven't seen any established games, at least yet, come into the NFT space and incorporate NFTs into an already established title, which is why we haven't really seen play to earn get to that point that I think it will very soon, probably in 2023, I guess, 2024. Because what we're seeing for what we're seeing right now for play to earn, and I put quotations up for that, is that it's more stare to earn, where, you know, you're just playing these kind of mental gymnastic games, and there is nothing really to it. There's no playing, and I mean, that's just it's just how it goes. Like I don't expect there to be AAA titles where people are earning, you know, $50 a day playing it at this stage in the NFT market. So I don't necessarily hate those projects. They're needed to build off of and eventually get to where we all believe it's going to go. And I'm very confident on the gaming side of NFTs. That's probably second to music, my most interesting part, because I've been playing games all my life, as many people in this space have been. But to see where it is in the space right now, it kind of shows how immature it is, in the sense of like, we are just nowhere near where I think it will be just within 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think that like, I agree that, like, it's kind of like the NFTs and play to earn gaming is kind of like a step back from traditional gaming at the moment, and we're kind of in the development stages of play to earn, and that's why we're seeing lots of stare to earn, as you were saying, stare to earn kind of games, and not really established games coming out. But it's kind of great that we get to be in the early development stages of play to earn and see it develop as it goes on.
I was also gonna say, like, I feel like it's still so early. Like, NFTs and play to earn is only like I bet it's only like, if you think of like the big companies like Activision, Blizzard, things like that, like the executive board probably hasn't even heard about that until like 2021, probably, right? That's my guess. Like, most people probably haven't even considered it, like those kind of boards, like play to earn, that kind of thing. So, and like NFTs and things like that. So they're probably like on the fence, kind of just watching. So I do agree. I feel like there is like a very kind of cataclysmic event that's going to happen soon in play to earn, that's going to just kind of bring it over the top and really kind of bring things forward. I'm just waiting for the game. And I do agree, Big Time is doing things right now. I think, in my personal opinion, I think they are the front runner for play to earn games right now, personally. But we will see. It's going to be a interesting time in this play to earn gaming industry. Do you want to kind of go over what you think like the major benefits are of play to earn? Like, I know obviously there's like the earning aspect, but do you think there's like anything else that it brings that like maybe like the average person's not going to see? Like, I kind of had a thought on it. Like, as a Canadian, I don't know, after the whole space race thing happened, it kind of changed over from financial literacy more to science and technology, right? So there hasn't really been, until the recent years, I noticed much of a push for financial education in like the schools and stuff. So like just our generation and the younger generation being really interested in things like games, if when you pair it with like play to earn and NFTs and stuff like that, it kind of indirectly exposes the younger generation to like financial literacy and actual financial education and things like that. So that's kind of just my take on it. I just kind of wanted to hear yours.
Yeah, I think gamifying dull experiences is so underrated. Especially when it comes to things like school, for kids that don't like learning the way it's posed to them right now. I mean, just play to earn, or just the gamifying experience in general, I mean, more is super underrated. Because I remember back when I was in school and we would play this game, and this might sound just out of left field because I'm from Australia, but there was this game called Mathletics that we would play, where you basically do math problems in the game and you would earn coins, and you were able to then spend them at a shop and buy different clothing articles for your character. And then you were basically just flexing on your classmates. I think that whole idea has so much potential. And I think taking that a step further with play to earn NFTs, and like you said, kind of the financial literacy idea, and teaching young people what it means to be financially literate, I guess is a way to put it, is super important. I'm excited to see that side of things as well. Not just the obvious, replication of the Steam market for, say, CSGO in like every game that we see. I mean, that's the side I've probably lent towards the most in learning about. But there is a lot of potential for the just technology in general. And especially for kids, because I know for me, I mean, I spent just a disgusting amount of hours as, a teenager and kid playing games like most people.
Same.
So
I'm a really big Call of Duty guy, so like I will buy the Call of Duty, at least not anymore because I'm too busy for that now, but back in the day at least I used to buy Call of Duty like every year, day release, and I would always have around like a month total game time for every game. So like 1 month out of the entire year I would be on Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same.
just to give you guys an idea. But yeah, thank you for that, Pasta.
I just wanted to add, like, that's what I think is really great. Like, if we can see the development of play to earn gaming being as entertaining as like a Call of Duty game. As Hasan was saying, he spent like a whole month, like out of the whole year, playing Call of Duty. If they could add the earn aspect to that, it's not like you're kind of spending a whole month of time upgrading your characters, upgrading your guns or items in the game for like kind of no reason. You're kind of getting benefited and rewarded in the process for all those things.
For sure, I definitely agree with that. Now let's talk about the interesting part, because in my opinion, honestly, describing play to earn and talking about its key benefits is pretty self-explanatory, but I wanted to hear, what do you think are the pitfalls and issues right now with play to earn gaming? Because I feel like there's definitely a lot of room for improvement, so there's a lot that can be said here. So I want to definitely hear your side of things on this.
Yeah, well, I think the most obvious thing right off the bat is the tokenomics of it all, and how people have just used the word play to earn to market an idea and sell a product that isn't really made and isn't planned properly. So I guess we will see that more as more established studios come into the space with reputation that they don't want to screw up, and they're going to actually plan out their stuff a bit more. So I think that's probably the biggest downfall of the market we're in right now, just because it's so new, and people are just taking advantage of the flashy term play to earn. So it's probably the biggest issue right now. And I'd say maybe longer term, I don't know. I see a really good example of play to earn in CSGO and that whole market with Steam. And we've seen how that's been scrutinized over like a 10-year period now, and they got legally kind of got really messy at some points in time, and they had to shut down a lot of sides and regulate it a lot, where I think now when you trade something, you can't even trade it for a week. It's like, imagine you bought an NFT and then you were stuck with that in your wallet for an entire week. And I bring up that example because CSGO and that whole Steam like debacle, there's a reason that got regulated, because it was mainly kids doing it. And I mean, I know for a fact, because I was one of them. I played CSGO for ages. I collected skins, bought Steam gift cards and everything. And like 99% of the people on that game, we ended up gambling them online, and there was zero regulation around it. So stuff like that we've seen be issues in the past, I don't see any reason that won't repeat itself. Even now, to go off a little bit from play to earn, but still related because of the CSGO gambling side of everything, when we saw this kind of version of play to earn games, and at least NFTs in the Web 2 sense of gaming, I guess, we're already seeing gambling sites pop up now, replicating those original CSGO sites, where you can basically throw up your NFTs and they have monetary value assigned to them depending on, I guess, the floor price of the collection, and then you're able to gamble them. That's probably one of the biggest issues I could see in the future for play to earn. Because there's just going to be regulation that's going to come in place, but it kind of needs to happen, because you don't want 12-year-old kids gambling online. It's dangerous.
Absolutely. Honestly, I didn't even think of the whole gambling side of things. I was never too much into the whole CSGO skin collecting and gambling, so I didn't even think about that. I kind of forgot that there were a couple sites up now that were actually allowing you to just gamble away all your NFTs. I've seen actually a couple people recently actually lose a lot of money doing that, like a lot. My kind of thing is like, I feel like it's this whole play to earn, like how you're getting monetary value out of your time. Yes, that's good in a sense, but I feel like for real play to earn, I feel like it should be more of you being rewarded for your accomplishments. Do you know what I mean? Like less like you actually, because like at the end of the day, these games are supposed to be competitive, right? Like if you're playing a game with a multiplayer experience, if it's not Sims, then it's probably a competitive game, you know what I mean? So like I feel like if rather than rewarding people based on like their actual time, it should be more on like actual accomplishments. So like the higher skilled players can, and the people who put in the time and effort to learn and actually engage in the game can do better. Or maybe someone who like built a community and they work together to do better, you know what I mean? So you accomplish things together, and it encourages things like collaboration. I've seen a couple, Shrapnel actually kind of, I was going to talk about that later, but they kind of are really like tying in collaboration with their game, and like with the whole reputation system that's replacing like a ranked system and things like that. But just things like that, like collaboratively accomplishing things together, I feel like it's a really good feeling, and I feel like that's when you should be rewarded. And there should be some risk aspect too, so that you're not just, it doesn't feel like it's a job where you're clocking in and you're playing this game to make money. You know, it feels like you're going into this game to accomplish a mission with your friends, and you might win some money. So there's, an actual like peak, a climax, so that you actually feel something when you're playing these games, rather than, just playing to earn, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's super drab the way it is right now, obviously. And as we see, new ideas surface, I think it should get a lot more interesting. But I completely agree with rewarding people for doing things that are gonna push the game in a healthy way. So like you said, like collaborative things, or when people are actually good at the game, they're gonna get rewarded in whatever that way is. Because we've seen competitive, the competitive scene of games can push the game by itself if there is a really strong competitive part or community in the game. It can push the game to another level. I mean, we've seen like League of Legends become one of the biggest games of all time, I guess, because that competitive scene, especially in Asia, is absolutely huge, and it's exciting to see. And it's massive. We see massive crowds are coming out because of it, and people get really engrossed in the whole community aspect of it. So pushing those healthy ideas that are going to push the game to new heights is the stuff that we should be rewarding with, you know, whatever, if it's a token or whatever the case may be, when it comes to the play to earn aspect. I think that's really important as well.
For sure, definitely agree with that.
So kind of adding on that, it's like kind of like there's too much focus on the earn aspects of these play to earn games and less focus on the fun and the accomplishments that you can do in the games. Like, I think that most people play games today to actually have fun, to enjoy their time while they're playing the game. So I think there kind of has to be more of a focus on the fun in the play to earn games while people are playing them, so they can actually enjoy their time while earning at the same time.
100%. And when people realize that, when studios realize that, and the novelty of play to earn wears off, and we realize that the ones that are out right now are more pyramid scheme than play to earn game, they'll realize that they need to create something fun, because you need the audience to stay to be successful. So we're going to see competitive, a competitive march from all different studios and indie game developers, whatever the case may be, to create the best possible game, because they know that's the only way they're going to solidify themselves in the space and be that play to earn game, or be a successful one at that, which is really exciting, because as we know, like, you want a competitive scene in whatever the case, because it's going to push those companies and brands to do better, like we see with literally every aspect of life when it comes to even mobile phones. We're glad it's not just Apple, because you've got other brands pushing Apple to do better. So that's the same way I think it's going to go with play to earn games. And we need that competitive side, so these companies, big companies, ideally actually want to get involved and be the best one, like we see with NFT projects right now, pushing each other to be better, because someone's going to come out on top, and everyone wants to be that one.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with that. Like, the projects or the companies and brands that are going to come out with the most competitive, the most fun, the best kind of product out there are going to be the ones that come out ahead in the play to earn space.
I was gonna ask, so I know a lot of these NFT games are very like community based. Like, some of them are even like DAOs, in the sense that they let the direction of the game be steered by the community. What do you think about that?
Like, okay, yeah, with the DAO idea, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that on Solana right now. Having a DAO direct the future of your game is very risky. It's a little dangerous, but at the same time, it can be super rewarding. So I think that just completely depends on what the game is. Or at least having a DAO or the community have part of the responsibility. Somewhat like, a really interesting concept. I don't know how familiar everyone is with RuneScape and their old school version of the game. They basically have a DAO to vote how the game builds out, because just to give a quick explanation, basically RuneScape has been around since, early 2000s, eventually morphed into RuneScape 3. A lot of people wanted it to go back to the original way, which it did. It went back to old school RuneScape, which was a 2007 version of the game. And people, jumped onto that side of it. It got really big. It got bigger than the original game, RuneScape 3. And now they've actually cut all future updates for that game and are working solely on the old school version. But people are obviously going to get sick of that eventually and, complete the game. So what they've been doing is slowly adding in updates that were either taken from the original RuneScape 3 version, or just completely new stuff to either fix the economy in ways, or prevent certain things, certain pitfalls that happened with the original game, or just add new experiences as a whole. But they know the community is completely it's a super hardcore community of people that are dedicated to that game, and they will not leave because they love it. And I played it growing up. I like it as well. Not that much, but I'm not playing it every day, but it's a crazy community. But what happens is they have a poll box in the game where you actually go to one of these boxes and you are able to then vote on what Jagex, the studio, is going to do with the game. It's literally like a DAO. And if they don't get enough votes, or it's not like a large majority, it doesn't pass. which is really interesting. It's kind of like a Web 2. I hate saying Web 2, Web 3, but like it is kind of a Web 2 game version of a DAO. And it has worked really well because if the community is not happy, they don't vote. And then they are never upset about a change because, you know, if there is a change, it's majority. And it's a democracy at the end of the day, like a DAO. And it's an interesting concept and it has worked really well for them.
That is an interesting concept because I feel like it's a really difficult task in general to like maintain like a sustainable game economy while still having like community driven meta changes. So that's news to me. I did not know they actually had that offered. So that gives me hope that the NFT space can do that, mimic that as well actually now. So thank you for sharing that. Musa, do you have any thoughts?
I just wanted to talk about like another issue that I kind of saw with play to earn gaming. In some cases, I feel like there is kind of a high barrier, a high entry price for the average person to kind of get in and play these games. So it kind of has a barrier against the general public because a lot of people aren't willing to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on like in-game characters just to get access to a game. So I think that's something that, you know, these projects and these upcoming play to earn games are going to have to look out for. They're going to have to try to find a new kind of way for people, like the general public, to kind of get in and play the games without spending hundreds of dollars on in-game assets just to get access to it.
Well, I think all of these play to earn games are going to need to be free, you know?
Yeah,
they're gonna say it's going to be the same way Fortnite changed the landscape of gaming with the battle pass. Every freaking game, I don't know if I can swear, every game has a battle pass now because it is the most cost efficient way to build your game, and they just make it free. If they have, you know, if they believe in themselves to actually create something good, they make it free. I think it's going to be the same with play to earn because you're just not going to get people wanting to play if it's not. And especially with the opportunity to download something for free and then earn money is an awesome concept. And like you said, with the actual ease to get into these things, it's a pretty high barrier of entry right now. But we're seeing stuff move forward quite well with, for example, like CryptoMaze, which I'm a big fan of their team and what they're building with. They just got accepted to do. I forget what the company is called, but they're building stuff on like layer 2 and ZK rollup and stuff like this, and it's all going to be based on your phone. And you know, there's not going to be any fees. They're going to cover all the fees. They're going to create a wallet for you, you know, using the app, and it's just like breaking down those levels where your grandma can download the app and play. Technically, play to earn is like an awesome concept, which we are moving towards. So that I'm super excited about that side of it.
UI is a big thing. It needs to be much more accessible. Not even just like the price, the actual complexity of this stuff needs to like tone it down. Like I feel like play to earn needs to disassociate itself in a sense with NFTs. Like you can have NFT integration still, but it needs to be almost so seamless to a point where you don't even know there's NFTs involved with this game, you know? Like you're playing the game and you're making money and you're collecting assets which happen to be NFTs. That's my personal opinion as to like kind of the ideal model in a sense.
You want people playing the game for the game and then realizing, oh wait, these are NFTs? I thought NFTs were weird monkeys. You're telling me I can use these in game and sell them? Like that's what I guess Big Time are trying to do, because they have kind of a mixed bag of NFTs versus in-game assets, where they have an in-game marketplace where technically those assets that you're earning in-game aren't NFTs yet, but then you can mint them to whatever chain you want and then sell them on whatever marketplace. Or you can just not do that, keep it in the game's ecosystem and sell it for the in-game token, which is really interesting as well, because they're kind of breaking that barrier to entry by not only integrating NFTs, but also not pushing people out that don't understand it or don't want to be involved. But when people, you know, like say Big Time blows up, you know, you get a lot of casual gamers coming in there that have no idea about Web3, and they have a ton of fun with it, and then they want to move to next level, and they say, wait, I've been grinding this game, you know, for a week now. I've got all these assets, I've got all this in-game currency. You're telling me that I can now mint this to any chain with low gas. Say I want to mint it onto Solana or something and then sell this asset. and I can actually get real money from that, and I don't have to deal with like Steam's BS. It's like awesome. That's what we need. I'm glad they've realized that, and they're actually going to that, because every other studio, every other company is going to have to follow suit. And I think it's definitely going to be the easiest way to onboard new people.
I completely agree with that. I guess let's move on now. What do you think the future, do you want to give me a couple scenarios on how you think the NFT space is going to be, not the NFT space, the play to earn kind of landscape is going to be in like the next, like, let's say year, 5 years, something like that?
I think, it's difficult to say now because we're so new. I think we might have a better idea in maybe a couple years, because stuff just moves so quickly, and NFTs are only been around in the public eye for like a year, and I would say that play to earn NFTs have barely even begun. I think Big Time might be one of those examples of something actually getting out there. Obviously there's been other games. I'm not saying that those don't count, but in terms of a free to play type thing, or at least on that next phase of play to earn in Web3, I think Big Time is taking a good step towards it. And we're going to see games probably, beat them out within, a year, and release stuff that's going to be better than that, and just push it forward slowly. So I don't know what it's going to look like in 5, definitely not 10 years. But hopefully they've at least broken down the barrier to entry to the point where any gamer doesn't feel like they need to spend a week learning about Web3 and crypto and blockchain technology to play a game with their friends, and they're not scared of the idea of an NFT, because I feel like that's what it is right now, and it's like the stigma around NFTs in general is holding back the play to earn aspect of it all a lot, because it's like I said, it's like, ew, I don't want to touch an NFT.
Everyone thinks it's a fad.
Yeah, exactly. We need to break that down before we move and get to a somewhat of a mass adoption appeal to gamers, I think.
I can get behind that. I do agree with that. I just think hopefully in the next couple of years, those barriers eventually will go away, and people will be able to actually, that stigma as well behind NFTs goes away. Because honestly, I think there's a lot of bad in it, but I feel like any community or any space where there's like a lot of good, there's going to be a lot of bad too. It's like when you're having a ton of fun and making a ton of money and there's a bunch of innovation, you're always going to find people trying to take advantage of people, so you're just going to find a bunch of bad characters, and with that you're going to find a bunch of people who are making projects for cash grabs and charging way too much for things. So I think the model definitely is what has to change, and I think we're going to see a shift probably very soon, to be honest. And I especially think with things being more bearish lately, we're going to see the shift very soon. So because I don't know, personally, I don't think there's a lot of eyes right now in the NFT space as of late, just because of how things are so bearish. So I feel like a lot of those projects who were kind of here for the whole short-term gain and just trying to, push out a so-called play to earn game, again in quotation marks, they're gonna walk off, and they're gonna leave the actual space and move on to whatever next scheme they're onto. And the actual builders and people who have a passion for gaming and the NFT space in general, they're gonna be the people who actually stick around. And some won't obviously be successful, because obviously timing and the product you have and the team who's building it is a huge thing, and like a lot of these projects are going to fail. But I do think a couple of projects like Big Time, like you keep mentioning, is going to be is really going to push forward the space and kind of be the standard for like the model, and we're going to kind of stray away from the whole super high mint and you have to own an NFT to play the game and that whole thing, and the whole stare to earn thing as well. I think that's going to be scrapped actually very soon, personally.
Yeah, I 100%. People are super over that side of it. It needs to become, there needs to be a lot more utility in all these projects that are earning tokens and stuff in general, because they're not play to earn games. They're never going to be play to earn games. They need other utility to make the token actually worth something, I guess. And yeah, I mentioned Big Time a lot as well, just because obviously it's on my mind because they literally launched like the main beta a couple days ago, but
Yeah,
also
I know. It
because
looks beautiful.
yeah, it looks great. I was watching stuff on Twitch. I haven't had the chance to play it yet because I think I have a Ruby Pass or something they gave me with like I did a giveaway for my Discord, I think, and I believe I get access in like a month or something. But what I'm gonna actually do, because I'm actually interested in this. You know, I live in a house with some of my friends that are all gamers. They play games every single day. They're not in the NFT space though. I'm gonna try reach out, try get some Ruby passes, or at least wait even for the full game release. And I want to throw it to them and make them play it and see what they think from a view of people that don't really care about NFTs all that much. Don't necessarily have a stigma about it because I've explained to them what NFTs are, so they're not against it necessarily. But to throw them on something where they actually can earn money and see how they react to that environment. So I'm going to be using them as test dummies for Big Time, I think, which I'll update you guys on in like a month and a half or something. I don't know when I get access, but yeah, I'll let you know.
It's a good idea, honestly. Maybe I'll try to get some of my friends who kind of have the whole stigma against NFTs to get onto Big Time, because a lot of my friends are big PC gamers, so but they hate NFTs. So I feel like Big Time's kind of a good thing to just throw their way and see how they react, I guess.
Yeah, 100%.
Good idea. Have you seen the movie Ready Player One?
Yes.
Do you think that we can get to a world that looks like that?
God, I hope not.
Okay, not. I actually let's take it. Let me be more specific. Not a world that looks like that in the real life sense, but more so like that the metaverse and like the whole like crazy raves with tons of people in virtual reality. Like, do you think that's a realm of possibility for, let's say, in the next 5 to 10 years?
Definitely not 5 to 10. I'd say eventually, sure. I mean, there's no reason why we can't get to that point. But from my knowledge, talking to people in VR, AR, in that space, I mean, we're just not. We're not going to be there, especially with just the power of computers and internet and stuff. I mean, it's just not quick enough at that point to work seamlessly in that way. But I do think the whole metaverse conversation is very interesting, and the play to earn stuff that goes along with that. Although in the short term, because it's just so hard to predict these things, but in the short term, I think AR is definitely going to be the winner. I mean, we're seeing these companies like I think Apple and I think Google and stuff are all doing these glasses that are going to act as kind of AR visualizers for I think like home workouts is a really good one. And gamifying that aspect, like to run it back to what I was talking about before. I mean, I remember watching I think it was Dana White talking about this boxing game he'd play. And it was dumb. It was just like, you know, typical billionaire stuff saying everyone should just do this. It's like, yeah, well, we don't have a $5,000 AR boxing ring set up in our backyard, do we? But he was talking about this game, and I was watching him do it where he would jump into this kind of AR area in the gym, and it was this gamified boxing workout essentially, where you're not actually going to get hit in the face, but you know, and he works out in it, and he does it like every, I think, a couple times a week or something. And it's really interesting to see how that's going to move with AR, because I think that's more likely the world we'll be living in. It'll be that mix of technology before we go full, you know, dystopia. Just live in it.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because we've seen projects like My Pet Hooligan innovating the Emmy app with Tony Robbins, and that's a really huge push for metaverse and the AR technology. I think they're the first like kind of project to actually push out some kind of technology like that. And I completely agree with your statement with maybe not VR in the short term, but AR, we're gonna see a big push and a big like adoption of that kind of technology.
Also, I think it's less scary too. Like if you I think it's a little bit daunting, like for like a boomer to go put on a headset and be completely immersed in VR. Whereas like you can maybe put on some glasses and see like a yoga instructor in front of you, you know?
Yeah. Or see some apes
100%.
dancing around.
Yeah, like at least they'll be in your living room, in your space that you're familiar with still to an extent, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I actually saw a video of Snoop Dogg using the AR technology too with his Bored Ape, like the Emmy app,
oh
and
yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
dancing around with his Bored Ape. Was kind of funny. But
That
yeah,
is
that kind
cool
of thing you can use AR for a lot of different things. So
for sure.
Dude, you remember how big Pokemon Go was when it came out? A lot of the
oh
Yes.
factor that
yeah,
pushed that was the AR ability of that, and that was, I mean, not it wasn't the only one out, but it was the only one that kind of pushed it mainstream, and it was a huge selling point. So imagine we get to a spot where you don't need to be looking into a 4-inch phone screen to see your Pokemon, but you just see it, and it's tracked
That's
in real
yeah,
insane.
time.
yeah. Kind of just put
Like
on
Yeah.
it'd
your
be
glasses and you
so
see
fun.
it.
It's like a whole digital layer to the world. It's absolutely absurd what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't think I was more fit when that game came out. I was walking 10Ks a day. I swear to God.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I used to see like the herds of people walking around with their phones, not looking at
yeah.
anything else.
Yeah,
I had the
Like,
like
it actually
laptop in my backpack, charging my phone and shit.
there's,
yeah, it
there's
actually
actually a
it made me go out and just go on bike rides so I could hatch my eggs, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a picture of me on a bench press with like a Pikachu on top of me.
Yeah, I remember like taking photos or like putting my Pokemon on my like dog's head or some shit. Like it was I mean, like look at play to earn, I mean, or AR and the ability for fitness and gamifying that aspect. That's literally another perfect example of they made a game that force people to be active to win. And if you mix that with an IP like Pokemon, it's insane. And it literally, I would love to see how many calories were burned playing that game over
Yeah,
it
honestly.
probably like knocked down obesity rates by like a 1% over the years. Like it
I
was,
bet,
And the
yeah, at
crazy
least
thing
knocked off a
is,
point for obesity for
yeah,
sure.
and the crazy thing is these people don't even realize, they're getting exercise because they're having so much fun. Like
yeah,
it's just all part of
100%. Like a Wii Fit game. Like I don't know if you guys played the Wii back in the day, but
Of course.
I would sit in my living room and sweat uh, I would sweat like crazy
I used to
playing
play tennis all the
tennis
time.
and
Yeah,
running around and fighting games. Like I would play a boxing game similar to that Dana White example. Like I'd play a boxing game with the nunchuck and the Wii remote, and
same,
I'd
same.
just be going crazy, sweating, and at the same time it was fun. But imagine like we take it to that next level. Like that was what, like 10 years ago. Like with the technology we have now and with the advancements in AR and adding play to earn and adding the internet to that, because I don't think there even was like there was barely multiplayer back on the like original Wii. Like we add all of those things on top and it just becomes such a fun social thing.
Do you want to maybe talk about go into like some of the interesting projects, like play to earn projects that are coming up? That
Yeah,
you maybe
yeah.
would want to talk about?
I think the only ones I've been keeping an eye on right now, although I need to look more into some of the ones on Soul because I think they have a lot more, lower to barrier to entry and at least accessibility in the short term. But probably for me, the ones I'm most excited about are well, definitely big time in the short term because we're actually going to be able to play it.
I agree.
Like right now, you could go play it if you want to spend a couple $1,000s on a silver pass. I think it's
Absolutely.
silver or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or like I brought up before, Crypto Maze, which is a really interesting one because that's not going to be out for, I don't know, maybe a year or something. But they've got a really solid plan, team, and they just got a really good partnership to do stuff with the ZK rollups and how that's all going to work with the accessibility for mobile gamers, like I was talking about. So in the short term, big time, mid to long term, or midterm, I guess, is Crypto Maze. I think there is just like disgusting potential in mobile gaming because I don't think people that spend all day on computers realize how much money there is in in-game purchases and all that sort of like microtransactions on the phone. Because you think about like buying a microtransaction on a game on Steam or whatever, it's not like the simplest process, at least when you compare it to mobile gaming, where it literally comes up and it's like one button. You just like scan your face,
Yeah,
pay.
I know.
Like
Yeah.
it,
It's
and
crazy
it's
how easy it is to
crazy.
spend money on your phone. If you have money on your
Yeah,
phone and you do that on a regular basis, you know it's extremely easy. And you'll look one day and be like, whoa, why did I just spend all this money on this game and this app and this membership and this subscription?
exactly,
Like all of a sudden,
exactly.
like it's so easy. So I know what you mean. Like mobile is just going to make it so it's so much easier for people to engage. Like I feel like
Mhm.
if you can really onboard a bunch of people into mobile gaming, you can see a real spike in volume in the play to earn market in general.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there's just
Like
100%.
gonna be so many
projects like
transactions.
Heroes Mafia, basically Clash of Clans on the blockchain, right?
Yes.
That's easily
Yeah.
accessible on mobile devices, and definitely a lot of people love playing Clash of Clans and spend hours and lots of money on gems and things like that. So games like that too, that can like easily be accessible on mobile devices, are ones that to keep an eye out for, just like Mafia.
For sure. And I do
Mavia
agree with that about
from
the sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say Mavia as well. I forgot to say I'm super excited about that. I'm staking my land right now for like a year or whatever they made me do it for. I got my rare land or some shit. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think that one could be easily mass adopted just because of the concept of the game. It's
Mhm.
just something that people would really love.
Oh, well, I think it's already mass adopted in a sense. Like you got
Yeah.
esports teams, tons of funding, and the game's already been a huge successful model in Clash of Clans. Like
Mhm.
that in my opinion is the like big time and like a couple of the other games, yes, they're like front runners too, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they're kind of taking a little bit more of a riskier approach, you know what I mean? By building the kind of game they are. Like
Mm.
Mavia, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like so safe holding a land piece. Like I
Mhm.
had a land piece as well, so I know what you mean. You feel safe staking that shit for a year. So,
Mm.
um,
100%. It's a lot riskier to build like a triple A type game, and expect onboarding to make that viable, because I mean, doing like a dungeon crawler type game, I guess it's dungeon crawl. I don't know what you'd classify it as, but something like Diablo, I guess, in a sense of gameplay, isn't the most accessible thing for people. Like for sure. Like,
you have to
I
be a
mean,
hardcore gamer to actually
exactly,
really play that.
exactly.
Like if you don't even have the systems to do it, like me for example, I don't have a very good computer. I'm a console gamer.
Mm,
So, and I have the Xbox One Day 1 edition from 2013. So, if you ask me to run a, brand new AAA game, I will probably tell you no.
mm.
It's just not
Yeah,
possible.
exactly.
So,
And you're in the NFT space, so it's like, how
exactly.
do
Like
you
that's
expect?
crazy for me
Yeah,
to know about all this and have such an interest for it and still not have the ability because there's so many people out there like me.
100%,
Or people
100%.
who just don't even have an interest in it, like there's that side of things too. It's just like situational things that like are going to cause people to not enter, whereas like something like everybody has a phone at this point, like
Yep.
everybody almost. Like if you can download something and play it on your phone for free, that is going to get a crazy ridiculous amount of users. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for the whole mobile side of things. I think that can do really well this year personally, to be honest. Like if I see some
Mhm.
newer mobile games, maybe like something like I don't know. I want to see a card game do well. I haven't seen that do well yet either.
Mm.
Like a mobile card game. I don't know if you guys know. I think Ninetales is doing something like that. I believe. I don't know if you've heard of that game.
I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't looked into it much though.
Yeah, I don't know. I used to play a lot of Hearthstone back in the day, so I'm trying to find a kind of more of a card game base. I feel like that could be a really successful business model as well, kind of for the whole play to earn thing.
Mm.
Um, but
I
yeah,
agree. Like, yeah, I used to play Hearthstone on my phone as well. Like, I probably played it on my phone as much as I did on PC. So,
yeah, literally. It's just so easy. Like you can just pop it up and play when you're bored. When you have 5 minutes here and there, Hearthstone there.
100%. And I spent money on it too. I bought deals. I bought the packs and stuff and everything.
Yeah, literally. That game was easy to spend money on.
100%. Used to buy the iDream code, like gift cards and stuff, even
Yeah,
back in
trust. I
the
used to spend
day.
a lot of money on League of Legends too, to be honest. I'm
Yeah,
kind of
same.
I like to spend money on my games. What can I say? But any other interesting projects you wanted to talk about or you wanted to go over, Pasta, that you had
That's
maybe?
probably it. I think Mavia, Crypto, Maze. I think both because
Something.
they're mobile. ideas.
Like imposters too, I guess.
Yeah, that's
I'm
another good
interested to
one. Or
see, yeah,
My Pet
what
Hooligan
you
even.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, My Pet Hooligan too. We're really big My Pet Hooligan holders here. We've been holding that from like mint. So we're
Yeah.
super excited here about My Pet Hooligan, and we like the team over there. So Pasta, just to close out the video, how would you say you found the most success in the NFT space, and like what kind of advice would you give for someone starting off? And honestly, for like, I hear a lot of people give advice for people starting off, but what advice would you also give for someone who's more experienced?
I think for me, the most success has just been making friends and default, because of that, making connections in the space, I guess. Like I said, I started in, at least with ETH, I started in the Magic Mushroom Clubhouse, and I met a lot of people through that I'm still friends with today. And then just making content in general in the space has helped me make a lot of friends and connections, and that's helped me, get more knowledge and a better understanding of the space overall, and understand where I want to be with it long term. Because I don't know, like for me, I mean, the NFT space is different for everyone. For me, it's kind of been my whole life for the last 8 months, like ever since I
Yeah, it
started
has for
making
us too.
content. It's all I do. And like, I'm not trying to, if I was trying to make money, I'd be doing a pretty shit job, if I'm being quite honest. Like I didn't do an NFT drop for my group. I easily could have done one and marketed the shit out of it and made $500,000. That's the
Yeah,
reality of it.
100%. Yeah, I've seen everyone do it. So
I,
that's
I'm
why.
not.
That's why personally, you were one of the first people we asked. I can visibly see that you're not taking the steps to take advantage of your community, which I
Yeah,
like. You get all my respect for that
Mm-hmm.
personally. So
Well,
I
I
appreciate
feel
it.
like you don't kind of withhold information from your followers or subscribers.
that's
You
yeah.
kind of put everything out there.
Yeah, 100%. And well, that's the thing as well. If you're here for genuine reasons, I feel like it's pretty easy to do that. But if you're hiding things, or you need to keep up a facade of some sort, then you got to be a little bit more calculated with your moves. But for me, because I'm here and I like generally am just interested in the space, and want to be in it in the long term, I can kind of just, do what I want and make friends, and make connections and stuff like that. So I'd say if anyone new, that's definitely the best thing. I think maybe, like, if you're brand new, okay, let's say like you're a week in, 2 weeks in, I'd say first watch 10 hours at least of YouTube, at least. Like,
Yeah.
get a good understanding of what people are looking for in projects, what the different aspects are, who to look out for realistic views on the space, for example. Like, figure that out first for yourself. Don't go asking people, because if you do, there's always a risk that you're going to be led in the wrong direction. If you've got a friend in the space that you actually trust, maybe an IRL friend, maybe ask them for pointers and direction, and then go from there, joining a group. Maybe join a free one, maybe join a cheaper one that you can get into. Figure out a way to get into a community where you can learn with people and have real conversations, because especially right now in the bear market, I know maybe not a lot of people are watching this that are new to the space, because you get more new people in a bull market. Obviously, people are trying to make money, but in a bear market, it's probably better because you can get in and talk to people that are legitimately here for the right reasons. Where if you're in here in a bull market, you're most likely going to be just talking to people that want to make money and have either no real understanding of the market, and no real care about the space in general. And if you're talking and learning from those people, that's just a recipe for disaster. So I'd say right now in a bear market is probably the best time to make connections, because not only for those reasons, and kind of filtering out the people that are here for the wrong reason, but you're actually going to be talking to people who want to have real conversations and stuff, because they have more time. Because right now, like, there isn't a million things minting every day, minting out, and the ability to flip things is a little bit out the window in a sense. It's just not 24/7 like it is in a bull market. So you might have more time to actually conversate and make those connections and make friends, and they're going to make you so much more knowledgeable in the long term, especially when you go into like a bull market. And if you're more experienced, I'd say continue to do the same for one, But then I think I think I tweeted this as a reply to someone the other day about where to actually put yourself. What niche do you want to actually attack in a way in the Web3 space? And I'd say find something in I don't like saying Web 2, Web 3 because it's like we are in Web 3. We like this, it's one thing, but find what you're interested in Web 2. For me, that's gaming, that's music, and then find issues in Web 3 and then figure out ways to solve those issues and then find people that can help you with that in a way that you can both benefit and you're not just taking advantage of them. So I'd say that's the biggest thing for people that are experienced and want to move into that next stage. If you like actually want to be in this space, don't just be here to flip and screw about. Like, why not actually make your time worthwhile and build something with people? That's probably my biggest thing for people that are like already experienced, and that's kind of what I'm focusing on right now.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, just in general, like for the beginners, educating yourself, the whole 10 hours of YouTube, 100% is what you have to do. Like, really just sit back and observe before you really try to make any moves. Because if you do without the right knowledge and base and foundation, without knowing like the fundamentals of the space, or at least like, what to look for, odds are you'll probably lose money. And then I agree. Like, one of the things I think we're really good at here is like recognizing like individuals who have a lot to offer. So like when like again, like at January to like let's say February, all the people I was meeting in the space were a handful of people who actually knew what they were doing. The majority of people were people who had no clue what they were doing, were just here to make money. And then there were a couple bad actors who were like just in a sense acting like they knew what they were doing, but really had no clue and maybe were in the market for like a month. So like bear market is definitely the time to build connections, do everything you have to do now. Because if you can do it now, you can do it during the bull market 10 times better, in my opinion. It's 10 times easier. If you can work now, it's just 100% easier when the bull market comes around. And I've experienced that like twice now. So like just these mini cycles, and these things don't last for a very long time either. So I feel like a lot of people will flock back to the NFT space soon, in a sense, hopefully. But or maybe not hopefully, because I don't necessarily want all of those people who are just here for that short-term gain in the market. But yeah, I do 100% agree with that. That is definitely the way to go. And then for experienced people, the whole niche, finding a niche, that is definitely the way to go. I feel like people spread themselves way too thin, and they like try to like buy every project that they think is going to do well, even though they may not necessarily be familiar with it. So like you said, I'm really big into like gaming, pop culture, fashion, things of that sort. So like those are kind of what I stick to. And I feel like the NFT space in general does cater to those specific niches more so than others, in a sense. Like, for example, you said you were really interested in music, for example. Music NFTs haven't I feel like they haven't had their day yet. You know what I mean? Like it's just It's like the cusp for like music NFTs. I feel like they are something that is completely under the radar right now. Like they haven't even touched the surface for music NFTs, and that's something that I feel like a lot of people can make a lot of money in something like music NFTs right now if you really know the niche really well and you understand music and musicians and what kind of makes somebody successful in that industry. You could probably maybe find success in investing in music NFTs now that you think are going to have a lot of value in the future, for example. And you'd be able to recognize something a lot better than me, for example, who doesn't know that much about music,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that goes for any niche as well, but definitely that's why I mean that's probably why I'm most interested in gaming and music, let alone obviously my web 2 interests, but it also is super intriguing to see where it's going, because I think there's like so much potential for both of those in web 3, and like you said, haven't scratched the surface really of either. And also just a tip for the YouTube stuff, because I know some people might be like, 10 hours of YouTube NFTs, like that's kind of insane. Or like they don't have the time to do it. Or for me, at least, the problem is actually sitting down and like digesting that is difficult sometimes and not getting distracted. So what I found the best way to do it was to find like a brain dead game that you can play while watching the video. For me, that's Balloon Tower Defense 6 on Steam, and I just play that while watching YouTube content, and it works 10 times better, and I can actually like focus on that as well, just to keep my mind active and not from fading away. And like that's what I do, listening to Twitter spaces and stuff sometimes that I think are super important. I'll because if I'm answering messages on Discord and stuff, it's too much. Like I can't do both. I can't take in both. So you got to find something that fits perfectly for you. For me, that's Balloon Tower Defense. But you could play chess or something. I don't know, something more intellectual. But for me, that's BTD.
I do agree, but another thing I just wanted to add is it's not just like, even after you do that 10 hours though, like a big thing in this NFT space is when things are moving so fast, which in this space things are moving at like the speed of light. You have to like constantly be educating yourself.
Oh,
So it's
100%.
like
Yeah.
it's like continuous, never ending. Like you need to keep yourself updated. You fall out for like a week or two and you'll see things move very fast. Like the whole market could be completely upside down after that week or two when you come back. So
100%. That's probably I probably missed that point. I was actually meant like 10 hours of YouTube before you even touch an NFT. That's what I more meant. Like don't invest a dime before you've done like a good amount of research.
Literally. Pasta, anything else you wanted to add before we close out the video?
I mean, I don't know enough about the gaming industry and I'm not skilled in that aspect of it. So that's not the way I'm moving. For me personally, like I'm interested in that aspect and investing in it and then taking part in it, educating myself. But for me, in terms of what I'm actually building out, I'm probably going down more the route of the music stuff, which is what I've been focusing on for maybe the last 6 months, alongside everything that I'm doing with my group and the content side of everything. I don't really have much to say on that because I'm like keeping it private because I don't like putting stuff out there that isn't finished, or
I feel that.
I don't know. I don't like discussing stuff that I don't want to get people speculating on too early or anything. But yeah, that's probably where I'm going with things. And but the content is always going to be there, I think, for me, because I think it's like people always need content. It's entertainment at the end of the day, but it's also the education aspect. And if I think I have an opinion to offer that isn't out there, or a side, an outlook that hasn't been covered, I'm always going to continue talking about that. So I don't think I'll ever stop on that side of it.
Well, I commend you for that. That is a good creed to live by as a YouTuber, an educational YouTuber. So guys, we are going to be running a giveaway with Pasta here. We're going to be giving away 3 Animeta's NFTs to 3 of you lucky viewers and followers. And make sure you guys follow Pasta's Twitter and follow him on YouTube. Thank you again, Pasta, for coming on. It's been awesome talking to you. You definitely have a lot of interesting things to say and a unique perspective on the market, which is exactly what we were looking for. And give us a follow, guys, because that's important too. And that's it. Have a good one, guys. Peace.